1, check 2. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell, coming back for another episode with an excellent guest right here in Brooklyn, New York. We're at a heavy metal rock band rehearse studio. Shout out to Battalion Studios, and I got my man, hilarious comedian here in Brooklyn, originally from North Carolina. He was on a show called Flatbush Misdemeanors, right?
Flatbush Misdemeanors, yeah.
Yeah, 6 episodes. I was check out his IMDb. Napoleon Emill. Yeah. Give it up for Napoleon Emill, everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, bro.
Dude, you're the best, Napoleon. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing this on the fly. I know you've been going out and running around doing stand-up. Dude, he was just at the VMAs. You went to an after party last night.
Yeah, after party. It was definitely I don't know. It was definitely impromptu. I was definitely last minute, like, oh, this is happening. I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't be out too late. I got a podcast at 12. It was like at 12. I was like, don't act like this can't go forever. But I was like, I will cut out at a certain time. I know how many hours I'm going to sleep for. Luckily, I was good today. I got in there like 2:30.
2:30, you could pull it off. You can do 12. Like, it would be hard to do 8. But thank you for doing it, dude. I know.
12 would have been great, but we got there around 12.
I'm going to try to open this Liquid Death Grim Reaper, but this has iced tea, agave, and vitamins. Shout out to Liquid Death. This is what I'm drinking. I have a selection of teas and seltzer. Napoleon was at the VMAs last night. He made it to the show today. We hit some weed right before this joint. I rolled a spliff for you. Can you give the people, did you enjoy the spliff?
I'm enjoying it right now. Yeah. I'm pretty high. Yeah.
Nice.
It worked. It hit well. It was a good roll. Pro roll. So my little brother would call it. Nice.
Yeah, I got it down. What I was thinking about, because I was stressing. I didn't get a chance to go down and get some pre-rolls, but I had some old flower from last week that was from the Housing Works, the legal joint that's like sun-grown. But I had like 2 big fat nugs of that, right? Yeah. So I grounded them up. And then I was gonna roll 2 joints, and I rolled the first one, and it just fell apart. You ever just get nervous rolling a joint?
I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate that. I feel like sometimes I'll just wrap around the fucked up one. Fucked up. I won't even like break it back. I'm like, fuck it.
Oh yeah, you won't go back. I go back.
Wrap around. Sometimes if I'm at home, I will.
I'll go back. I always go back. But I know the wrap around. If you can pull it off, I would run with it if you could pull it off and make it work.
Yeah, I've doctored stuff like with like I'll take like that sheet that they give you in raw paper, like when it's like hey, just warning you, or this is the start of the pack. I'll save that just like if I can just rip a piece off and just kind of wrap around the rim.
Oh, yeah. Doing the patch method is definitely with joints. That's a whole other, that's home economics right there, my man.
You gotta be a little bit of a surgeon.
You gotta be a surgeon. Now, when I rolled it, and this will come back to stand up and art and music in general, and I was just getting in my head, man, because I was just thinking, I was like, turn it around. Okay, get that. And I was trying to make it perfect. You know, with the second time, I just said, roll a fucking joint. And I just went, ka-ka!
Roll the goddamn joint.
And I just fucking, boom! And I just rolled that, and you smoked it. It was a bone, right?
Oh,
it came right out. The shit was perfect. Shit was perfect. I didn't overthink it. I said, motherfucker, I've been doing this for years. Just roll the fucking joint, you know?
What happens if it goes black?
I think it's still going. This has happened. This has happened before. Yeah, it's still okay. So we were talking about rolling the spliff.
You ever because you were saying you had 2 big nuggets. You ever get one that's like, I don't even want to break this one apart yet.
Yeah.
Let me just use the little ones around it. I'll cut to the very end. I'll start breaking this one up. I had one the other day. It looked like a small Christmas tree. I was like, this is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so beautiful. It's like a bonsai tree that if you get them out there, you're like, I do not want to break this bad boy up.
You have to risk your life for it.
Oh, you have to risk your life for it. It's been grown for 2,000 years under government in Indonesia. It's traveled. But yeah, man.
No, those trees are hard.
Trees are, and then grinding them up. I always love a good grind because you get a good smell of the herb.
Yeah.
And that's always nice. And then, yeah, you gotta grind up the herb. I'm just a big fan of grinding up the herb.
Do you have like a keef catcher?
No. I got this old wooden one that just has like nails.
Yeah, I have that one
from
too.
Jamaica.
Yeah, I got that one at home. I got a grinder like that at home as well. It's just like just little picks out of it.
Yeah, just nails, just rusty nails. I got it from a trip in Jamaica. I didn't roll any weed with it. I kept it fresh, and I took it on the way home.
Does it look like a little yo-yo almost?
Yeah. It just says One Love on it. I love it. It's just got my imprint. It gets it every time.
See, I
don't smoke mad crazy. Like I just literally smoke maybe very small.
An eighth?
An eighth every 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, but then I was like, I shouldn't be telling everybody my shit. It's none of their goddamn
Keep
business.
It alone. Yeah. Fuck that. Never mind.
Never mind. You never heard nothing.
I feel like when I first moved up here, when I first started stand up, I was a little bit broker. So I would like try to stretch what I would have. So I would get like an eighth and be like, okay, I can keep this eighth for like a couple days and be like, let me try to tack on one more day, see if I can. I'd be about to roll and be like, nah, let's chill for a second. But then as I went along, was working jobs and actually got in a bit of a like a groove or like a what I'm saying, living in New York, I was able to buy more. Yeah,
get some more weed.
Also buy randomly. You know what I'm saying? We're just like, oh, that looks good. You know what? Let me buy that. You have to work your way up. So you have to prioritize certain. The city's expensive city.
Yeah.
You got your weed. You got your bacon, egg, and cheeses. You got
you got your coffee.
Your seltzers. They all add up.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm doing this podcast is to get free weed. I'm trying to get a sponsor. All I spend money on is coffee and weed. But this week,
that's why I do comedy.
Yeah.
Just get free weed.
You do get some free weed. When was the last time you got some free weed from comedy?
Yesterday.
Because the weed shows are popping up. Yeah, today you did. Have you been? Happens. Yeah, talk about the New York. We'll talk about that VMAs last night, but talk about the New York cannabis scene. Like, what is it? It's nuts, right? It's wild out here.
So before we had places we would go that it was like recreationally legal, right?
Right.
So like going to Canada, right? Like doing it, like going to a dispensary out there, right? This a couple of years ago. That shit was like going to like an Apple store. Like they were like tapped in. They had like little fucking iPads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was everything was like on this, like it was like a whole wall on display. It had parts of the, like weed. There was weed to where you couldn't read, like top shelf. They had to get like one of those rolling ladders. Like at a library. And then, right, I went to some out west, California. That shit was like, visiting an uncle in jail. You know what I'm saying? They took your ID. They had it for like 20 minutes, buzzed you in the door in another room, and then buzzed you into the actual, like they buzzed you like 2 or 3 times. You're like, what? They like stand right here, look into this lens. I'm like, what the fuck?
There's a security guard there that isn't a cop. Yeah,
it was real TSA energy.
Yeah,
I was like, all right. And then
there's a big book you had to sign.
Yeah, and then out here, it's like my little brother was out here, right? And he used to go out to California every once in a while. He was dating a girl out there, so he had got used to those dispensaries.
Yeah,
right. And he came out here and he was like, yo, it's kind of insane. It's like, you know, you don't really compare it against anything because you live here. And then I was like, okay, I have been to these places that have dispensaries. I was like, New York for sure is a storefront city. It's like there's stores everywhere. All the bottom floors of like all these Manhattan buildings, all stores. So it's like all these like places that have been closed down forever since the pandemic, since before the pandemic.
Yep.
All got opened up like smoke shops, just unofficial.
Zah.
It's like It's like they're like bodegas now. Bodegas dedicated to fucking Twinkies and weed. It's
and
like,
bad weed.
some of the weed is good.
Oh yeah, give us the word on the street on the bodega weed.
Listen, bodega weed is something that I've been doing since, you know, the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say since the Bush years. So I have a place in my heart for. I know who to trust.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like buying weed off the street.
Yes.
You know, it's like bodega weed that you could come across some really sketch pre-rolls.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? some sketch. I mean,
yeah.
I treat them like, you know, like, hey, bro, is this Delta 8? This is Delta 9. You know what I'm saying? It's the difference. You know what I'm saying? What is this? Let me smell it. I'm like,
let me see the packaging these days.
Also, it's like, you know, in certain, you know, in the hood, it's like, bro, my homie, we all work as each other's test strips. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you go somewhere, then you got to spread the word. Like, yo, that shit's good. You know what I'm saying? They legit over here. And that's the shit. It's like, you get it. It's convenient. It's something that you can go to, run to early in the morning. If you don't have to like call a guy or go to a, you know what I'm saying, they have their convenience, especially, you know what I'm saying? That's what Brooklyn is, though.
Yeah. And especially you could trust people that smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're like, if that cat's getting the weed there, then it's like, that dude, I know he's getting good weed.
Like, some people will be like, oh, I don't know, I didn't feel like I got high. And I'm like, well, that's because you got a high tolerance, but that's something to also, it's probably a lower level weed. Like, you'll start to, like, you know, when you know people, you know what they're, like, I had a homeboy, like, you know, every once in a while, like, yeah, I think I want to smoke with you. I'd be like, all right, we pass the weed, and, like, by the time we get back to him in the cypher, he'd be, like, laid out. Just kind of sleeping, just kind of just.
Yep.
I'm like, bro, I feel like, yeah, you got a low tolerance. I started to appreciate that as I got older.
Yes.
Low tolerance, I'm like, you saving money.
You saving a lot of money. If you're just smoking forever, ever. Do you take weed breaks?
Yeah.
In concept.
I mean, I do. I feel like people have this idea that I'm always high.
Yeah.
And I'm not always high. Like, I didn't come here high. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not always, like, granted, this is like early daytime, so it's like, you know, but people wake and bake. That's a common thing. That's a culture thing.
That's true.
And I've done that before, but I don't feel like pressed to like wake up and just like, let me smoke right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I also don't feel the anxiety of someone that, like, I can only smoke when I'm in my bed about to go to sleep. I'm like, Jesus, all right.
Yeah.
I'm like in the middle.
That's a good place to be.
I can have a heavy day and I can have a light day. I can have a couple days where I'm not smoking. Which is very, you have to make a choice to do that, I feel like. Because, like, say if I don't have weed, right? My guy is dry and I'm trying to, like, stick to buying from this person.
Right.
And it's been like 2 days. If I go out, someone's going to offer me weed. Somebody's going to try to, at the very least, smoke with me. Like, hey, you want to come out? Come outside. I'm about to smoke. I'm about to spark up. Somebody will hand it. So it's like, there's never, I feel like, a true time where, it's like a time where I don't have weed or I'm not buying weed.
But isn't that a good thing now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been normalized. Like, we were outside puffing, and some lady did give me a look that was walking by, but it's like, it's completely legal.
Not even that it's legal. I just expect people to do their own due diligence. Like, be smarter.
Yeah, be smart.
Be smarter.
We were outside on a picnic table.
The worst thing about weed was that it was illegal.
Yeah.
That was literally it.
That's the thing, is the dumbasses fucks things up, you know.
It's like, I'll even, like, watch old movie. Like, I went to this birthday movie situation for a homie, Kevin ISO.
Yeah.
And he played this movie, Paper Soldiers, old Kevin Hart movie.
Yes.
But like his PO was like on him about drug testing, like for weed, and like giving him like a talking to about him having like weed in his system. I'm thinking like, it's just bust. Somebody educated have to sit there and be mad for years about someone smoking weed. Someone that has a little bit of knowledge and street logic had to be like, you got to stop smoking. And truthfully, because propaganda was that good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good smear campaign.
Good smear campaign, and yeah, I thought those laws, completely, and they were racist, and it's like power moves. I think it's healing of the nation. Dude, I'm deep into legalization. I think it's the right thing, but it is kind of just
the good guys.
Yeah,
one for the good guys.
It's one for the good guys, and it's a blue collar. It's a kind of a working man's drug. It is. It's a 6-pack. It's a health. That's why I do it personally. I don't, and I think people. But the only thing is like I do think there's people that shouldn't smoke weed. There's some people out there that shouldn't be smoking weed. I think people have head things. Some people it's just their personality. For me, it's good.
It's not good for everybody. Like,
that's all I'm saying.
When people say they, it depends on what they say is like the problem. Then I'll be like, all right, man, don't smoke the weed. It's obviously stresses you out too much. But it's like. It's not the weed, it's you. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure yourself out before you come to this in a good. Because I feel like you shouldn't do any like.
You're right with that,
substances in a bad mood. I feel like.
Yeah. It's all about what's in your head usually,
and not even necessarily a bad mood, but if you're just not in a good place, if you're very high, like not high, but like high strung, like
tense,
like sometimes that can chill you out, but like if you're like I don't know. Some people I have a few friends that I'm like, they're more drinkers, and they're like, oh, every time I smoke, I get the spins. I'm like, yeah, I do too. If I drink all night without smoking and then smoke at the end, I was like, yeah, that's because you guys
are
alcoholics. You're always drunk. Every time you smoke, it's the first time adding something else to it. Like too much.
And as you get older, drinking just weighs on people, man. So it's like, but I know judgments. I think everybody's
when you just become like a little bit stupider. What they call it, like wet brained.
A little bit wet brained, yeah. But I did read. I had like a couple beers maybe like 6 months ago, and I felt it the next day. And but lately I've been thinking I might go out and have a beer and be social. I think it's nice to have one drink. Do you have one drink, or like last night? Did you drink?
Who knows, bro?
What went down? Or did you have tea? Or were you on ketamine last night?
No. I wasn't on any of that. I didn't drink. I didn't drink at the VMAs after party. No.
Yeah.
I didn't drink there. But they did have. They did have like a open bar and stuff, but I was just drinking seltzer. I had drank a little bit after the show I was on, and then I wanted to come here today. I didn't want to get like super wasted. I was like,
thank you, Napoleon.
I was like, it's not. I don't know. I don't need to. It's not that important.
yeah. And as we were talking before,
I'm somebody who does drink.
Yeah.
When I go off, but I can say like, no, I'm good. I don't need a drink tonight. Like I can go weeks sometimes without drinking, and not like consciously like, oh, let me just do this, not do this. It's just, and then there's like, oh, I could go like 3 days straight where I'm just like, stayed here till like 6 a.m, stayed here till like 4 the next night, stayed here till like 8 drinking, or went run around.
Sometimes it's fun talking to friends. That's the only thing.
That's the thing.
It's party and bullshit is a real thing, and it's one of the funner things in life.
I feel like it's one of the things we can kind of write off as kind of collabing in a writing session and stand up. We're like, listen, we're working.
And that's the thing, is that you were at the VMAs, and not to be like life.
Just saying that, I feel like a fraud. I wasn't at the VMAs.
That is true.
I was at just the after.
You were just at the after
just
party.
At the after. I didn't even know the VMAs was happening yesterday.
Yeah. I just heard about it last night.
I was like, on a Tuesday?
I was like, MTV still around?
I was like, all right, they had a VMAs on a Tuesday. I always thought it was like on a Sunday or something, but
it was in Jersey.
Yeah, in Jersey on a Tuesday. Good for Jersey.
Good for Jersey. I don't hate on Jersey. Yeah, I've never hated on Jersey. I've hated on Jersey before. Comedy-wise, I have. In life, I haven't.
Some of my closest friends have lived in Jersey, you know?
And Redman is one of the best MCs of all time. And he's from... do you know hip-hop? Do you listen to hip-hop?
Yeah, of course.
And Redman, he doesn't spit a bad verse, right?
Nah, bro. And he's someone to look at and, like, study because the thing about Redman is he's super fucking funny. He's like one of the funniest fucking like MCs, and it's like I think that's what made him such a likable force in hip hop. And I don't mean that in like a negative way. Like he wasn't like by any means like a soft guy, but like he was funny. You knew he had a good sense of you could tell through his raps that he was like a good hang.
Yeah, dude, he's fun. That's the thing. Yeah. His raps are fun. His music is fun. Like you could be thuggish, ruggish, bone all you want, but you could tell he's having. It's like a comic having fun on stage. Like
exactly,
he has fun on the mic
he's
and every tune.
It.
Yeah, and like when you rap along, you could tell. Like that's why everybody raps along to his shit. You know.
Yeah, I mean he's got classics, bro. And then him and Meth together was like.
Oh yeah, that one, The Rockweiler, is like one of the best hip hop songs of all time.
That's like one of the subplots of my childhood. Just Red and Meth together. Yeah.
Red and Meth. Yeah, you grew up. I was born in '72, so you're a little bit. I'm a little bit older, but Red and Meth, they were good hip hop. And then they did comedy like that movie. How High? That's a good movie, right?
Yeah, that's classic.
It's a classic.
That's a classic.
Yeah. And then what about the sitcom? Did they have a sitcom for a minute?
Did they have a sitcom?
Maybe it was
maybe a sketch show. Maybe
a sketch
something.
Something.
I have to like. I don't know. I feel like I'm having one of those like Nelson Mandela effects. Like, did this happen now? Like when did you start? Like now I'm starting to remember something. I'm like.
I thought there might be.
It could be like they had so many videos that they would like.
Yeah.
Just be clowning in. So it was like. And the 90s was like a super like, I mean, that was the era of the skits in hip hop, like interlude skits, like fucking.
Oh
little in between every like other song, like the Fugees, like fucking.
The Dre albums all had the Mad Rapper, man. I know D-Dot, the Mad Rapper. Yeah, from Notorious B.I.G. Like, you had to have some type of comedy element. I mean, being a good MC in hip-hop, being funny is, like, top. Like, you kind of have to be funny. If you're not funny...
It's a punchline.
Yeah, if you're not funny, it's kind of whack.
Yeah,
you know?
It's all about punchlines. I mean, some of my favorite lines in rap are, like, some of the funniest. Like, one of my favorite lines is... a Jay-Z verse, right? A Jay-Z line in the song 22 Twos, where he goes, look at his casket, feeling sarcastic, look at him, still sleeping, you never ready. It's like, this man's roasting this man while he's at his funeral. Look at him, still sleeping. Probably looking around for people, they all start laughing.
Do you like, Jay-Z, I think he's, yeah. I don't want to diss the man. But his rap style, it's like I don't know. I think he has some of the best jams. Money Cash House is like one of the.
That's a classic,
dude. That's one of the sickest jams of all time. If you put that on anywhere, and I even like Sunshine. That's like a good joint
with like Babyface.
Yeah, is that with Baby? It's Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's on volume 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that shit. But when he does all the math, I don't get. You know, I wasn't into math. He's like 69, 17.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I'm not a fast rapper, dude. Not to diss Eminem. Like I was never an Eminem cat. Like I was older. Those guys are like my age, so I was more like MCA and DMC and that kind of shit.
So Eminem dropped when I was like I want to say I was like 11, 12.
Yeah. So
like that was like, you know, the era I was in as far as age wise. Like I was like a kid. Like I remember we all had like a mixtape of his, and we would pass it around. And then he dropped, How My Name Is the video, and we didn't know he was white.
Oh shit.
Until that video.
And this is in North Carolina?
This is in North Carolina. We would like come up to the basketball court. We would all have like, different like mixtapes. We would just trade them shits.
Yeah, if you had a unique, that's the thing about hip hop, is like if you had a unique raw joint, and it's also about hip hop is if you have something nobody else has, if you're the cat. And I was thinking about Eminem. I've never jocked Eminem, but as a name, it is kind of dope. Like if I was gonna write an MC name, I was like, oh shit, that's fine. And it's called Eminem
behind it too.
Yeah. That's kind of dope, man. But like, it's a sick tag. It's a sick like hip hop tag.
So like, growing up in North Carolina, like my parents are from Brooklyn, so we would come up to New York all the time, and I would come back with like different mixtapes and underground shit, and then like songs they never heard that like are like there's songs now that are like classics in this city that not a lot of people heard outside of this region, like the Northeast region. Like it might have got to Jersey, but it didn't reach Virginia, North Carolina, Atlanta. Like
those tapes, like I always said, when you came up to New York, oh yeah, that's raw shit. That's all like that. What is that? Flex and Bobito.
Yeah, Bobito.
That type of shit.
They would play these like B-side tracks in clubs. You know what I'm saying? You would hear them all the time.
Oh yeah.
Where I was at in Charlotte, I wasn't clubbing at that time, so I can't really call it. But
North Cackalack.
I feel like they got better because we got better. We had more resources, so we by the time I was partying, like people were playing things from all over. Like it was they had like a special section for every type of music. They play reggae, they play West Coast, they go old Biggie, they go.
The South loves music. Don't get it twisted. The South loves music. I got hip hop early. I saw my first hip hop. I saw Houdini and Roanoke, dude. I was at the Fresh Festival.
They grew up Houdini. That's they grew up in the same neighborhood with my parents.
I think you told me about this, or you might be related to Ecstasy or one of those cats.
My dad was friends with them, and he was like before they were Houdini.
They were Brooklyn dudes.
He was their original DJ.
Oh shit!
When they would throw parties in like in the rec.
Oh my god! And your dad can DJ.
Yeah, he was.
Is he still alive?
No, he's passed.
Oh yeah, passed. I'm sorry, my man.
Oh, all good. But
life.
Life. But he was a DJ.
That's
he
sick.
DJed with him, and then he
went
to college.
But did it, like growing up, did he have the mixer? Did he have the realist mixer and the two turntables, or was backed away? That was from kid stuff. That was his kid shit.
That was gone. I feel like
there's a DJ.
He got rid of a lot of stuff. I think he gave stuff off to homies and
totally.
Like, but he had him and my mother had like a insane collection of records, vinyl records. I remember like going
New York again, some just sick music.
Because my mom, she, my dad was more like very like 60s, 70s, like Philly soul, like Motown. Like he was like into like a lot of like Isley Brothers and stuff like that. And my mother, coming from a father who was, in the military, and he was he was a chef, he was a boxer. My mom went to like an all-girl school in the city. So, there was a lot of different people that she was going to school with, a lot of different backgrounds. So she had like the most like
New York cats are so
wide range, because she would have like Gil Scott, and then like the Carpenters, and then like and then like like Steely Dan, and then like Curtis Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a huge range. Like all the
she had high end, she had class.
All the like popular stuff from like the 80s they had, like it was like Thriller, Madonna, like
early,
like Batman, like soundtrack, like the record, like stuff like that.
Oh, the Prince joint is amazing.
Yeah.
That's sick, man. I love vinyl. I love hip hop. I don't listen to as much hip hop now. Do you listen to hip hop now like crazy?
Yeah, I feel like I got back into. I feel like for a couple years, I was a little bit more curious with my music taste. I was like trying different things out, listening to different things, partying in different I guess, communities or whatever, different hangs, different types of hangs. This is like, in my like early to mid 20s. So like, yeah, all my early 20s I was doing, which I guess in late teens was, I guess, is a time when you do that. Honestly, I wasn't doing anything special, but I did get like out of touch with what was popular, like radio.
Yeah.
Because I was listening more like, it got a little bit more nuanced. It got a little bit more like, there are people who, we've seen people in the last, let's say, 15 plus years who can pack out a place without ever having a song played on the radio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Strictly all off of like videos they threw online, songs they threw online,
that
like
blew
albums,
the fuck up. Yeah.
But just not even just blew up. They've kept their like audience through, like, you just know them through Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah, Spotify. That's what they say in the music right now. Is like it's just all Spotify game. Yeah, I talk about it on the podcast, man.
Were you around for? Were you tapped in for the like that Piff era?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. I downloaded some. I always had my ear a little bit in hip hop.
You kept your finger on the pulse.
Yeah. I think I got some whiz joints from there early on, and then even before that, when I first got to New York, I would get like Dipset mixtapes on disc. On disc, and they would be totally bootleg, and it would be like DJ Drama or somebody and it was just like them rapping over these like samples that had no clearance. Like it'd be like that Billy Joel joint. Yeah,
that's why they were mixtapes.
Yeah. That's a mixtape.
They couldn't show any profit from it.
They couldn't show any profit. It was just moved on the street.
It was just a song.
Yeah,
we just rapped over it. That's fine.
Yeah,
but
with bag of weed and a mixtape.
But I remember Frank Ocean got in trouble for that. He had like an Eagles song that he like sung over on his album. I think it was Hotel California or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They'll eventually, if you got big enough, they're gonna get you.
Yeah.
They're gonna get you eventually. Where are you? Is Frank Ocean good?
like healthy? Is he okay? Or is he?
No, it's a good music.
Is it good music?
It's a good music.
He's like, I don't know.
I don't like the gossip. I'm actually trying to move away from gossip these days. But I do like music, and I think Odd Future is interesting as hell. I don't know all those joints.
You set them together.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like, I feel like Odd Future is like.
That's how I knew about him.
Around it, like that's one of those people I was coming to mind. I was like, you had people that did not have a lot of radio play that were like selling tickets. Like they were killing it, and they started from like very much of a big skateboard crew. It seemed like, and they all like branched out, and we all became like
Hold up, let me check this real quick. I'm sorry. I thought this time I looked up and it did something weird. I think I know what it is. It's every 12 minutes it does that thing. That's why I hate it. But yeah, the Odd Future joints.
Yeah, because everybody that came from that, obviously you had Tyler, and then you had Earl Sweatshirt, you had Frank Ocean, you had the internet that comes from there, that come from that camp.
Damo Genesis. I like
Damo Genesis.
I thought he had good rhymes. I was into his flow.
I like Damo. I don't know if he's like an LA guy, but neither was Frank Ocean, I don't think. But there was another guy, Haji. I think he's from like the East Coast as well. But it was just a fun group because they didn't take themselves too seriously. Or that's what it at least seemed.
Oh
like.
Yeah, Tyler the Creator's sick, man. And as an artist and as a dude, as young cats, even me hating on them from being an old cat, it's just like, dude, they just dominated. And they had fun.
Yeah,
and they were funny as hell.
And that's the thing. Like they had a sketch show, but that was the thing. That was like a time. That was like an era. It was like
their sketches were funny
from like 2009 to like till now, you know what I'm saying? Because they were all like doing their own things, but like I remember like, well, as someone who performs, you know what I'm saying, I know what it is to have people look at what you do and be like, oh, you're just chilling, but it's like, no, a lot of work went into this.
Oh yeah.
like that look of just chilling, or that look of just being regular and not taking it seriously. There had to be some level of it because they were always dropping. They were putting out videos, creating videos, putting out music.
They were
performing on late night. Like they were like around. They were pretty active. They were doing shows on a regular basis.
The skate community liked them early too.
Yeah, and
they were like the alternative cats and the skate cats got on that first song that he's eating like the roach.
That was from his second album, Yonkers.
Yeah, Yonkers was the thing that I first was like, oh shit. But
well,
yeah, you're right. They were bubbling right before that, like on the underground.
Because they performed on Jimmy Fallon, and I think he did. I'm trying to remember the song they did, but it was wild though. They like jumped all over Jimmy. It was like you couldn't tell if like Jimmy was into it or not. But yeah,
they were super obnoxious in the beginning. They were a lot like the Beastie Boys. Like that's what I think.
They were very Beastie Boys meets Eminem meets Wu-Tang.
And that is the epitome of hip hop. Like hip hop has to have a little bit of fuck you punk rock to it. Like it's always like when you get older, you shouldn't be. I always say rebellion. You got to go positive, like Bob Marley.
Well, I always looked at like, especially at a certain time. I always looked at like, especially in the early '90s with some of the like rap. Like I always kind of thought it was simultaneous with like punk.
Yeah.
Right. And then I feel like it kind of went away and hip hop. It definitely became more pop in the '90s.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think that I look at that as like a unspoken about truth about like hip hop. Like they don't really say how like popular. It was,
it's so big.
Because they'll be like, oh, you think about pop music, they'll be like, oh, like these certain like these boy bands or some of these singers that came from like Disney shows, Nickelodeon shows or whatever. But like, you know, DMX was out there on the TV with like a lot of people in the audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jay-Z was like some of those songs you heard. I mean, some of these songs you still hear them at like office functions and like middle school parties, like Hard Knock Life.
Yeah,
it's like you can't tell me that wasn't a pop record. But I'm like,
that's true.
I'm like, but whatever. You guys will like not give them that like title, or whatever. But like those guys came around, and I think rap in general, hip hop in general, like we carried on too long without acknowledging the idea of like subgenres of rap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it existed before that, but they got a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more like specific, and I think that crew, Odd Future, was necessary because it also gave a voice or an idea of like complexity and like some kids, because these kids are all from the hood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, excuse me, those kids exist. Like everybody talks about black kids who like watch like anime and stuff. I was like, yeah, but all our parents watch kung fu movies every Saturday. I was like, it's not a new thing.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it just, you know, people will be like, oh, those are nerds, or that's not hood. I'm like, yeah, everybody that's from the hood is not a street dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's not a street dude. So like that energy is deserved.
That creative high end
showcasing. Yeah. It deserves a spotlight.
That's how Kanye, yeah, just
Kanye, Lupe, Kid Cudi,
yeah,
Pharrell.
Introvert. I'm one of those. Yeah, I'm an introvert weirdo cat. You know, yeah, and you have it in all classes, all races. It's just like there's always been. My thing is, yeah, hip hop has gotten so big and so saturated and so pop and so mainstream. Do you think jazz is gonna come back?
I don't know. I feel like Tyler the Creator was trying to bring jazz back a little bit for a second.
Oh, really? He
was working with like Roy Ayers.
Oh wow.
I mean, I know he's not like a jazz. I don't know.
I'm sure
jazz. Roy Ayers.
I don't know.
Do you know Roy Ayers?
I don't know jazz that deep.
Oh.
I know the basics.
Yeah, I mean, he was like a musician, big in the 70s, 80s. He had the song Sunshine, My Life.
Oh, wow. I love that song. Yeah.
And a few other, like...
He was a keyboardist. Yeah, some good jazz. Yeah.
I would consider that a little bit jazzy, but, you know, definitely, I think, you know, there's people will be a little bit more specific. I'm not that talented. My boys back home, two of them, their brothers, that was like a part of their punishment growing up, but their father would make them like learn about jazz. So it's just kind of like been punished into being the most like cultured 22-year-olds when it came to like jazz and music. We would go to all these like functions that they would put me on, and yeah, we'd be like the youngest dudes in these spaces. We'd be like 21, and everybody else is like 35.
Having wine.
Oh, we love this shit.
It is fun to watch jazz when you're high. You ever smoke a joint and go see jazz? Like when I first moved to San Francisco.
They're making it high.
Yeah.
A lot of the times.
Oh yeah, those guys were the original weed dudes. The original. Yeah, that's the whole thing about the prohibition that they were like, it's the jazz players.
A lot of the stuff that they were talking about their song was like slang for like weed talk, like weed slang. Like a lot of the culture slang of weed like was in their music. Some of the names of their songs, like I've seen some of them, like some of these guys, you know, they're like 60, 70, 80, and they're like, you know, talking like, yeah, that was a song about weed. That was a song about doing drugs. I used to have a funny joke about scatting.
Yes.
Right. I was like, it's a joke because it was the first time it was done because one of their bandmates was having he was passing out off of like heroin. He was like, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up.
But everything builds on everything. Like we couldn't have hip hop if it wasn't for jazz. You know, you couldn't have rock.
Everything is a child of it gives birth to this idea of this thing.
This thing.
Yeah.
That's why stand up and podcasting. That's where it's kind of stand up's kind of changing now. Would you say because of podcasting?
I mean, I think I won't say because of podcasting. I'd say because of the internet.
Oh, definitely because of the internet.
Yeah, shout out to another good album. I think that's childish.
That Childish Gambino. Speaking of a dude, my first
also big internet presence.
Yeah, who him?
Yeah,
yeah. He doesn't have his own.
A lot of mixtapes on like Dat Piff and stuff like that.
Oh shit, yeah. He was my first DM from Twitter. He DM'd me to rap on an album of his. I swear to God.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I sent him. No, I didn't do it. He was younger than me, and I sent him an email. I said, let's do a rap about frogs. Right? He didn't get back to me. No, he was running and gunning at the time. He was blowing up. Like he just got. As soon as I said that, I said, I shouldn't talk about this. Because I do like his music. He has great music. And yeah, I just saw him blow up. Yeah. I was on a showcase where I was rapping and he was doing stand-up. And then he just that dude just fucking blew up.
Yeah. Hold on.
Have you ever run into him?
Yeah, I've seen him before.
Yeah, he's around. Yeah, and he's just as chill as. Yeah, he was a nice dude before, and yeah, I just know that he's like a superstar now.
Like he's super chill. Like he seems very in his like introverted area.
Yeah, he's a weirdo introvert too.
I don't know,
yeah,
he's somebody who like I was a fan of from his comedy.
He was a good stand-up. Yeah, he had good jokes.
I feel like a lot of guys do not talk about that, but I'm like he was a product of that time as far as like he was like around the time like Aziz was getting big. Like he was like of that era.
The first big wave. Yeah.
Yeah. He
Hannibal.
Was like, like he was like, he's like kind of like a little bit. I feel like I got onto him before I got onto Hannibal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like as far as, but like still of that same. I call it the Obama years. It was the Obama years. Everybody was wearing stripes, t-shirts, plaids, and like fake glasses. Everybody was getting.
That's what I usually wear all the time, but they're not fake.
Funny mustaches.
Yeah. It was the original hipster, original OG hipster. But hipsters, I've seen so many levels of the hipster, and it's usually just young 20-somethings doing something. But stand-up has definitely popped off.
It's all to me. It's all the umbrella of alternative. It's being 20 and alternative. You know what I'm saying?
You just don't want to do some mainstream shit.
You don't want to fit in with the people that your parents go to church with. You don't want to dress like them, or if you do dress like them, it's ironic. You know what I'm saying? Like you may dress in like a polo with khakis, but you're wearing a nose ring with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Have you listened to Hannibal's new rap? Like, he's just doing hip hop now. I think it's dope. Like, I think it's kind of cool that he's doing, but I haven't listened to a lot of it.
The first time I got to see him live was like, it was like before I started stand up. It was at the Oddball Fest. It was in Charlotte, and he was like
dope.
rapping on that. This was years ago.
Oh shit!
And he was like also talking about how he just got like, LASIK.
Yeah.
But he was like, but I can't not wear my glasses because like
that's how people know me. Yeah.
He's like, people.
I remember that joke.
But he was rapping, but he was more making fun of it. I feel like at that time, and now he's like really doing it.
Yeah, he's going deep. Yeah, Thundercat and all those type of cats, man.
I mean,
music is so dense right now.
You look. There's so many like people there's some people that are just that creative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And curious about creativity and like getting that stuff out and have that type of imagination or that motivation, and like, you know, good or not, you know what I'm saying? If somebody's fucking with their own shit and they believe in it, like, it's gonna make somebody else believe in it too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I remember going back to Donald Glover, like, I was a fan of his stuff. I followed him on Twitter, Tumblr, like, knew him from like writing on 30 Rock and had like the Simpsons spec script. Like, I was like a fan. And my brother was like, yo, he's making music, and I was like, no, I'm good. I was like, I'm good. I'll follow him in these avenues, right? His mystery team, like, I fucked with him. Yeah,
that was great sketch comedy.
But then he dropped this like freestyle at like Boise State. I remember it was he spit over like I think the grizzly bear beat 2 weeks.
Yeah, and
he like killed it, and I was like, all right, bro. I'll check it out. I'll give it some look, because he was dropping mixtapes.
Yes,
and I just remember like hearing one song and be like, this nigga sound like Nicki Minaj. I was like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But one of the dopest things about that I look at now is like, even at that time playing it and stuff, being like, nah, that's not for me. We did get to watch this dude like kind of grow.
Yeah, grow. And This Is America is dope. So like, Redbone is dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waking My Love, like, but even like,
and that's like almost like Prince level type shit.
Yeah, like fucking Because of the Internet. That was an insane album. You know what I'm saying? Some of the mixtapes he dropped before that, Camp, that album, like Cul-de-sac, going back to that, like all of those, his body of work, you could like see him grow in what he wanted to do, right? As far as being an MC and a rapper. And then him kind of stretch that idea of being a rapper into different places. Like, oh, I'm here doing this. I'm using this this inspiration, and you know what I'm saying? Like, he moved around with it that you can't really contain him. For the music that he makes. He could drop an album, he could drop a song right now where he's just straight spin, or he could just fucking, it could be all music and barely his voice on it and everything in between.
Yeah.
I do fuck with that.
Oh, and doing Atlanta and making Atlanta as weird as it is, like, and then doing that, and then doing mainstream movies.
Going back to doing like TV. You know what I'm saying? After like dropping an insane album and being like, you know what, here's a cool TV show.
Yeah, that dude is ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that dude is a very. And then that show was great. It's funny because it was just like by this comedy club that I work. There was like a bus or like a pay phone that had like the first season like advertised on it.
Oh wow!
And I feel like for too many years, I feel like I think it might even still be up.
Yeah,
it's like random parts around the city where you just see like an ad from like, all right, this is from like 2017, but it's also a phone booth. There's nobody fucking with the phone booths now. They're just there.
They're just there. In New York, it goes quick. It'll go by and they'll throw a poster on everything. But down south, it'll just be like one poster for like 3 years. Are you saying?
No, I'm talking about like that's how it is in New York. I've seen the Atlanta poster
in New York.
Yeah, this is like literally on like Second Ave. I'll see it from time to time, or like I'll see there's another one where I'll see like it's like for the first season like Snowfall, and it's like the first snowfall like ever. I'm like, but it's like all phone booths and stuff.
Oh man,
those are like I don't think there's people. They no longer have people for that. I think updating those shits.
No. Some of them are just the city's so big they're up and up. But I was gonna say, like, do you fuck with graffiti? Did you ever go through a graffiti phase? Do you like hip hop graffiti?
Oh, like was I tagging? No, I had homeboys that did that, but
oh really?
Yeah, but I wasn't.
Do you respect it?
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
It's an element.
It's an element.
Yeah, you can't. Why, how could you not?
Yeah. You're very much hip hop if you say it's an element. Because if you know hip hop, the elements are, I don't know, it's 3 or 4, but one of them is graffiti.
5, right?
Well, okay, we'll count them all. I'll see how far I can go. Graffiti, dance, hip hop, breaking, DJ, and MC. Rapping, and
you said it. You said it right.
I think there's DJ, only 4. I think I was right. 4 DJ, horsemen.
MC, dancing,
right? Graffiti. But DJ and MCing are 2.
Yeah, that's 2 different ones.
Those are 2 different ones because those are 2 different skill sets.
I mean, I could look it up.
No, don't look. You think it's 5?
Like, don't look it up.
No, you can look it up if you want. I'm not. I'm not. I tried not to look at my phone, but I never knew. But I do love graffiti still, and I do like walking. Like New York has so much graffiti that it's almost too much.
So graffiti. DJ, then there's knowledge.
Oh, knowledge.
We forgot about beatboxing.
You got to do some beatboxing.
Street entrepreneur. I can't even. MCing, breakdancing, historical knowledge. Knowledge is always a part of it.
Knowledge.
They put it in here twice.
Is knowledge, it the 7%? Is that right?
It's like 5 elements of hip hop, but it's like sourced around the web.
Yeah.
But it's like so. MCing, DJ, breakdancing, graffiti, and knowledge. Knowledge of self. But I guess beatboxing is like, it's like the mentionables. close, what do you call it? Like, it didn't make the list, but, we're going to let you know these people were in discussion.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when the first, I saw Fat Boys at that concert. It was Houdini, the Fat Boys, and then Run DMC. The Fat Boys had a great beatbox, but the best beatbox is, and he would do the clap. But Dougie Fresh had the best beat. I thought Dougie Fresh he did the. You did all that shit.
I practiced that when I was a kid, and I got to a point I was like kind of okay doing something. I haven't done it in years, but I remember when I was like a little kid, I'd be like trying to like the Dougie because hearing that like him and like Slick, some of those beat drops.
It's the sickest. It's the smoothest. That's that's one of the smoothest tracks. Dougie Fresh is one of the still. I've seen him. Like I used to do this show at Gotham. I still do it. Mixtape comedy show.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I remember that show.
Yeah. Royale Watkins, and he would hook it up. And Dougie Fresh performed one time, and he just came in and he did. Man, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
He still gives it all.
You still doing that show?
Yeah, it was like he does it once a month, and he came out of the pandemic, and then I think he had D Nice do it last time. Like D Nice co-signed it. That was the show, not to brag. That's another I'll say about Donald Glover. But I shouldn't. But one of the things I like.
We're the title of this episode.
We got to finish it up. But at the mixtape comedy show, who was it? It was a famous. I can't even think of it. I'm too high right now. It was a couple rappers. I've seen some great rappers, and then it's an actor. Oh, I had a good set in front of Denzel Washington there. Denzel was in the crowd.
That's nice.
Yeah, and I got him laughing. Like I didn't have the best John Lasseter had the best set, but I was right behind it. Like I killed, but I also died in that room following Cedric one time. I had to follow Cedric, and I fucking just died.
I killed in front of J. Anthony Brown one time.
Oh, nice.
At Caroline's.
Oh, wow.
That was good. He was like, let's take a picture. It was me, him, and Reg Thomas.
Oh, nice. Shout out to Reg. I want to have him on the show as well. And shout out to Caroline's, R.I.P.
Busy. Yeah, R.I.P. Carol. I mean, the fest still going.
Yeah, the festival. Shout out to the New York Comedies Festival. Hopefully, I'll have it on the Cannabis Coffee Hour. We can wrap it up. But yeah, the Caroline's was a good spot. If you like stand-up comedy, that was like a classic joint, man.
I mean, that was one of the. I feel like that was one of the places you heard about the most. Like listening, like if I listened to like the radio, I listened to like Hot 97.
Yeah.
And like somebody was in town and they doing an interview. They're like, "We're gonna be at this weekend." They're like, "I'll be at Caroline's."
Yeah.
Thursday through Sunday. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Oh shit!" So like,
Funk Flex, everything. Yeah.
It just became a place I just kept normally. And being from the Carolinas, I'm like, "Oh, this kind of sounds Carolina." And then Caroline's also my grandmother's name, so I was like, it stood out every time I heard it. So like, yeah. I remember when I moved here, I was like, bro, I used to sell tickets in Times Square, and I was like right there, like 2 blocks from like Caroline's. And then not even 3 years later, I was on the
Marquee.
Marquee.
You won the big contest, right?
Yeah.
There was like, and this was like a big deal because it was like all the young comics of New York City, and they would get you to come in. And you would be in a contest.
64 comics.
Yeah, it was hard.
March Madness, yeah.
And you won it.
Yeah.
I never did it. Like I came to town and I already done Last Comic Standing. I was like, I'm done with contests, so I never did it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, I'm done with that shit. But it did blow some people. Mark Norman came from there. Like it did blow some people up. Like it probably got you some work.
Yeah, that was like that was 18. Like I said, I didn't start going out and hanging out early. Like I was saying, like 18 was from like because that year I did March Madness. I was a young I was 3-year comic when I did that.
Oh, that's sick.
So I didn't expect nothing out of it. Like the first round is like 64 of us, and then like maybe 100 other comics in the room just there to watch and judge, see who's gonna out joke who. And so like I didn't have any like thought on it, and I was just like whatever. Winning the first round, and I think we had to do like a minute. And I think my joke, I did like a 30-second joke, but it got like such a huge laugh. And then I remember being like, damn, okay. And I remember walking out of there because so many comics were in there. I wound up getting booked on mad shows just from that first round. And I was like, yeah, that's good enough. And I remember I ran into a comic, Matt Pavich, and he was like, yeah, man, you're actually now the favorite to win this thing. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. I was like, all right, that's pressure I didn't want. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, and then I remember just being like, whatever, man. You didn't even expect to get past the first round. You were just there to have fun and like just kind of keep it like that. And I did not, it showed in the end a little bit, but I did not prepare for any set that I went up there and I didn't think about it. I didn't spend the day thinking about it at all. I was just putting it in my calendar so that the alarm would go off and be like, hey, you got to go to Caroline's at this time. And I won that literally not focusing on it, trying not to focus on it the whole time.
That's how you do it, man. Yeah. Is not to think about it, because that's a lot of competition. That many comedians, that many egos, and that much pressure. But when you're so young,
to win, like I didn't want to win. I didn't see myself. I was like, okay, I got past this first round. I'll probably get out by the second or third. I literally wasn't thinking, oh, I can win this thing. And then I won it, and I was like, oh shit. And then later in that year, I did New York's Funniest during the New York Comedy
Club, yeah.
And
festival.
I came. I didn't even know I didn't even know they were doing like places at that time, but I came in second on that.
Dope.
Yeah, behind. It was. Josh Johnson had one. He's a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, it's all good. But I was like, I didn't expect to do any one of these things this year. Like as a young comic, I'm thinking like, I don't ever put like a time frame on things, but I'm thinking like, yeah, that's down the line. I won't, you know what I'm saying? Eventually, I'll be in the room to get into one of these shows or showcases. I wasn't even like on my mind thinking of it. And then that year, back to back, boom, boom.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And all in New York too.
Yeah.
And that got you all this
and
work.
The next year from that, I got JFL.
Oh, nice.
So that was year 4. So boom, boom, boom. It was really quick, really early, and like a lot of comments, because I was like I was young in stand up.
Yeah.
And like sometimes comments would ask me about it, and I'd be like, bro, like you have rules, and then you have like things that are exceptions. Like my route was like an exception. It's not the rule. Like that was quick. And I always tell them, well, like that's not, because I came to New York thinking like, okay, we're gonna eat shit for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I was not really projecting any of that stuff happening at that time, but it was just luck. I had a friend who was a comic who had pretty much stopped doing stand-up, but she was still booking bar shows, and she wound up becoming an assistant booker at Caroline's. And she kept saying like, yo, we used to kick it all the time, we smoke all the time. Then she was like,
I gotta turn it back on, sorry. Yeah.
She was like, you never like hit me up or ask for anything. I'm like, yeah, I just assume everybody else is blowing you up, so I just left it alone. Yeah, she ain't put me into that contest.
Oh, that's sick, man.
Shout out to Carolyn.
Yeah, you never know how it goes. Yeah, I mean, that's how, and especially the first 3 years, but everybody's different. I had a different route, you know, and I got a lot of stuff early. You kind of go through it comes in waves is how I've always felt. Like I'll be down a couple years and then something will happen like, oh, I guess I'm doing this now.
Well, the thing is like I had this expectation, right, of like just kind of just stream like fucking hamster wheel.
Yeah.
For years. Like I had that was like my mind. And so when and like even in the first year, there were things that happened when my first year, like first few months of stand-up, that I was like, oh, that's dope. I got this opportunity. I got to go up at this club or something, like, which is not like, it's a big deal when you're like young, when you're like 4 months into stand-up, like, oh shit.
Yeah, and you never thought about stand-up before, or you just couldn't picture yourself being taken serious like that, and then it happens, and you're like, "Oh shit, I'm doing this for real."
Yeah, I mean, but it happens at every step along the way. Like I remember doing my first show. Like it was a show that me and 2 other comics had kind of like put on for us and some friends we made around the open mic scene. Is what you do, right?
Yep.
And I get on this show, and I remember like I did not have in my mind. They're like, okay, he's like, I'm gonna have you do 9 minutes. I remember at the time I had like maybe 6 minutes, 5 minutes of material of what I thought worked, and I had to like dig and do all these jokes that I clearly had seen bomb enough times at open mics that I was like, all right, this is gonna be a dud, but like, you know what, fuck it, this is something I have prepared. Let me just see if I can make it work tonight. And all these things that would bomb at mics would like do well on shows. And I'd be like, oh, that's because this one is not about suicide.
It's not bumming everybody out.
It's not bumming everybody out.
Yeah.
It's not too dark. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. But like, I just remember like just not having that time and being like, fuck it, just
don't think about it. Yeah, don't think about it. Yeah, the longer I've lived, the less I think about myself. That's what I was thinking.
You become like Mother Teresa.
No,
the less I think about myself.
You try to not think about. You try to think about, like, when you think about yourself, you're like in your head. Yeah. So I think I'm a part of everything. Yeah. So I have to respect you. I have to respect the space. I have to respect the universe. Yeah. And by accepting that, then I'm like, oh, I'm really living in the moment, like being present, and respecting the moment. And it's hard as fuck, especially with all the internet. And I gotta take a pee right now. I don't know if the GoPro's working. Napoleon, you've been too cool to do this podcast. Thank you. I'm putting together in the heavy metal rehearsal. You came through, smoked weed with me at noon. You're too cool. Thank you so much.
This was too cool. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, where can the people check you out? Plug whatever you got.
You can check me out. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
A great YouTube stand-up.
I'm on Instagram. You can find me on the Napoleon Emill, NapoleonEmill. I'm also on Cash App and Venmo under those.
Tip your artists. Yeah, it's a whole new wave. You know, I'm trying. This is not the Patreon episode. I haven't even done a Patreon for this.
I mean, this is long enough. You could probably cut it down.
I know we went too long. I'm out. All right, peace and love, everybody. That's it.